When I noticed that fraud was occurring during my retirement process, I had obtained a fraudulent copy of my 3-man medical board report, which I just talked about, dated 3/8/1990, which was signed off by the Chief Medical Officer, which was the correct report, and many other documents along with that. I had made an appointment with my union representative, Carmine DeRoss, and then union attorney John Mills. They both looked over my documents and both confirmed fraud had occurred regarding my pension. Mr. Mills stated that my case was the most tainted case he had ever seen and told me I need to hire an attorney. Real quick, I'd just like to show the computer printout reports. On February 23rd, 1990, it states discogenic disease that a Dr. Kleiman diagnosed me with. This is untrue. Dr. Kleiman never stated that in his report. He stated it was due to my line of duty injury. On this computer printout, dated March 8th, 1990, again, it said discogenic disease, which the report I just showed you stated, the false report. Again, on March 27th, 1990, it states Dr. Soren, the orthopedic from the fire department, diagnosed me with discogenic disease. Untrue. Dr. Soren repeatedly seen me and diagnosed me with a service-connected injury and nothing to do with discogenic disease. There is not one medical report that states discogenic disease referring to an old injury. Yet on February 12, 1990, they state I had a 3-man medical board that diagnosed me with discogenic disease. I never had a 3-man medical board on 12/2/12/90. It may be hard to see, but the records reflect everything that I'm stating. When I made the appointment with Carmine DeRoss and John Mills, they both looked over my documents and, again, both confirmed fraud had occurred regarding my pension. Mr. Mills stated that my case was the most tainted case he had ever seen and told me that I need to hire an attorney. That's when I said, "Don't you represent me?" And he said, "No, I can't. Our legal counsel don't represent retiring firefighters." Now I don't know what to think. At this point, I'm very worried. I had to find an attorney to handle my case before the pension boards. This is also fairly rare that a firefighter has to hire an attorney during his retirement process. But it's even more rare that a fireman has to hire an attorney to represent him regarding pension fraud during his retirement. For a year and a half, Rosemary Carroll from the law firm of Kligerman and Fries represented me. Rosemary first met with union attorney Mr. Mills and union chairman Carmine DeRoss, who confirmed my pension fraud before I retained her. After reviewing my records and reports at great length, Rosemary Carroll hand-delivered a memo dated 1/18/91 along with dozens of medical records that were being held back from the Retirement 1B Medical Board, and described the ongoing fraud and asked for an investigation. This memo was addressed to Marlene Gold and Mary O'Sullivan, and given to Madga Deconinck to review at the Board of Trustees meetings. On the actual official transcripts of the previous Fire Department Board of Trustees meeting, union member Carmine DeRoss was arguing fraud had occurred and also asked for a full-blown investigation concerning my case, with the district attorney's office and Michael's entire case acting on my behalf. Even before I retained Rosemary Carroll, this was stated on record. And again, Marlene Gold, Mary O'Sullivan, and Madga Deconinck were present and still continued with the fraud. Union Chairman Carmine DeRoss, on record, on 12/27/1990, also asked for an IG investigation by the Inspector General, again on my behalf. Carmine states on record, somebody is making vicious entries in the MD9s of Romanelli's case, and as a trustee of this fund, I will call for an investigation of this entire case. Marlene still refuses to call for a vote on the causation of my disability, which is required by law. On 12/27/1990, Union Chairman Carmine DeRoss and Union Attorney John Mills submit a host of medical altered documents and medical evidence that the 1B board refuses to read, and Carmine states that Romanelli is going to ask for an investigation on record. Marlene Gold now directs Mary O'Sullivan to get the entire record in my case so they can have a full and complete record to review. And yet dozens of my medical examination reports and records were still being held back from the 1B pension board that I have signed receipts for, along with EMG and MRI reports that were destroyed. One report was a lumbar spine MRI showing 3 herniated discs. My last EMG test, which was positive for radiculopathy, was also destroyed. That date was 9/27/91. I still have copies of these medical records and the evidence that it was submitted to the pension board, confirmed by Mary O'Sullivan. At every board I submitted medical evidence, and at every 1B board it was never read. That's why I had to hire an attorney, because these 3 individuals kept pulling them. In total, I had 5 1B medical boards. Not at any time did this board examine me. Not at any time did this board send me out for an orthopedic examination or a neurologist examination, like they do with all other firefighters. Again, I was treated differently. My first 1B medical board, dated 5/23/1990, stated that I did injure my neck and back in the fire, but my injuries were too significant to have been caused by the fire. Instead, now the certificate states that my neck and back injuries were caused by an 8-year-old broken jaw. How can that be possible? This decision is not only absurd, but illegal. The 1B board never got to see the fire department's own prior medical reports proving no prior injury. This 1B board didn't refer to any medical evidence because they had none. What was more suspicious was that the chairman, Marlene Gold, and the 1B board, and the only orthopedic on this board, never signed off on this medical certificate. When I say the chairman, Marlene Gold knew this, that the doctor never signed off on it, and so did Mary O'Sullivan. I will go into this later. Dr. Flum was his name. Also, the 1B board never stated on record that I was taken by ambulance and to the hospital from the fire scene. More important, a year after my broken jaw, in a fire department medical examination report dated 4/6/84, the fire department did a full examination on me, and I was found in perfect health. This mentions all the neck and back musculoskeletal examination, a full yearly report by the fire department that mentions that I have no previous injuries, I'm in perfect health. This medical report was taken out of the record, also held back.